Have you been craving a unique experience through a dark, treacherous world? Perhaps you're interested in a reimagined action experience. Hello friends, it's GooberTroy here, and today we are going to go over 5 reasons to get excited for the upcoming action RPG, No Rest for the Wicked. Number 1. Weighty yet fluid combat. Moon Studios, who are well known for their work on Ori, have created a beautifully animated combat system where every movement in the game looks well defined and very smooth. The game's combat looks like a little bit of a mixture between something of Dark Souls and a bit of fighting games because every attack has weight behind it that can lock you into animations. Many of the combat encounters in No Rest for the Wicked seem to be isolated to single enemy encounters, which is a little different from being swarmed in something like Dark Souls. In every one of these fights, you'll have to really focus on maintaining your proper spacing and knowing when you can punish enemies, similar to that of fighting games, as well as Dark Souls to some extent. To really set No Rest for the Wicked apart from the competition, Moon Studios has added a system called runes, which provide unique abilities to your weapons, which creates a playstyle to your liking. I'll cover a little bit more on the runes later in this video. Number 2. World design and the art style. No Rest for the Wicked's world is designed to look and feel like a painting, and also it makes the world feel alive and encourages exploration even after you've conquered areas. What I mean by this is if you clear a particular location of enemies and return later in the game, you might find a new set of enemies are now occupying that location, which presents new encounters to learn and also potentially new loot to acquire. Something else that I find incredible about No Rest for the Wicked is Moon Studios' artists handcrafted the entire world we see in the game. Nothing we see has been procedurally generated, and everything that your camera touches, it's going to have been something an artist hand-created themselves. It's just one of those things that may seem small, but it adds a nice touch and just really adds that much more to the world. But that's not all. The game will include a day and night cycle along with dynamic weather to make the world feel more alive. It's unclear if this day and night cycle or the weather will have any impact on enemies, drops, or special events, but I think just having like the world change around you is often a nice touch and appreciated. Number 3, Sacrament. Sacrament is a hub city and where you'll likely be spending a lot of your time in No Rest for the Wicked. But what can you do within this hub city? As of now, you will be able to unlock various merchants who will reside in this city, likely giving you access to new weapons, armors, consumables, and much more. In addition, you will be able to buy homes within Sacrament. In this case, you can customize the home by crafting furniture and decorating your home. This decorating system is pretty robust and not confined to any grids, so you can be very precise on how you're going to place objects within your home. Some items can even be stacked to allow for more creative designs, but the final relevance of Sacrament is that your base is going to allow you to craft workbenches and sort of craft items for you while you're out on expeditions. You will be able to gather resources in the wilds to return to your base and use for various recipes to help you on your adventure. Number 4, a flexible playstyle and randomized loot. In many games, treasure chests and enemy spawn locations are fixed, but more notably, the loot you receive and the enemy types you face are always static. And No Rest for the Wicked, spawn locations for both treasure chests and enemies will remain static. However, what changes are the types of enemies you might face along the way, and the loot that you're going to receive from the treasure chests, those are randomized. It's unclear how random this will actually be, and if chests and enemy types will pull from like a small pool depending on the stage of the game you're in. But I think on paper, this sounds like it will create a unique experience for players and encourages us to experiment with certain builds, especially earlier on in the game. Loot you receive will come in 4 different rarities. Common will be the most flexible loot that can be customized. It's unclear what that means exactly at this time, I think, but from what I'm assuming, based off of the term customization, I think there might be some sort of crafting aspect that lets us reroll traits on these weapons to fit our playstyles. Rare loot will provide all positive enchants. Cursed loot will provide an even greater set of positive enchantments. However, it will come with one negative side effect. And finally, unique items contain only very positive enchantments, but it's unclear how we will acquire these unique items since the developers said these are handcrafted which makes me think we acquire them from completing side quests or certain feats, something like that, or maybe just defeating some bosses. Finally, this game is a classless system, meaning much like Souls games, you allocate your stats freely to build a unique playstyle. This will also play into runes, which are like abilities you equip freely to your gear. These runes allow you to cast magics or provides you your weapons with powerful attacks which allow you to create combos. You will be able to acquire runes from weapons that you just find out in the world, and you will be able to extract them freely and swap them to any weapon of your choice. I really look forward to seeing the different combos we can cook up as a community. If they're really going to make this as freeform as it seems, it's going to be a lot of experimentation at our fingertips. Number 5 is simply the future of the game. This game comes to Steam Early Access April 18th, but beyond that, we know we are going to be getting 2 additional updates at a minimum. The first of these updates is multiplayer. From the image and what the devs have said, this will include both co-op and PvP. The image they display on the roadmap even looks like an arena, so I imagine we will be getting an instance PvP session rather than invasions like a Souls game. A game like this where we can create so many builds should make for some interesting PvP experiences. And honestly, I'm not too familiar with Moon Studios and what their competitive track record looks like, but I hope they're up to the challenge of nailing the balance for a game with this degree of flexibility. The other game mode still doesn't have all of the details revealed, but what we do know is that it's going to be some sort of dungeon crawler type mode, which hopefully makes for some fun co-op content. And finally, the last bits of content that are going to be coming will simply be more locations to explore and additional story bits. And that's going to wrap up my reasons for being so excited for No Rest for the Wicked. Let me know what's got you feeling the most excited for the game in the comments below. For me, it's got to be the fluid combat with a fighting game feel. I am a big fan of the fighting game genre, so kind of seeing the necessity of managing your spacing and timings and stuff like that makes me just really hyped up for this game. For more No Rest for the Wicked content in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This was GooberTroy saying thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.